Hello everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. If you're a broadband service provider, the window for uploading your broadband serviceable locations will be starting at the end of this month. So that's coming up fast. The FCC has announced that they're going to do a webinar the day before that. So the window opens on June 30th. They're going to do a webinar on the 29th. I'll be right back and I'll tell you all about that. Thanks for joining me. Rick Uzzi here from Zquorum. So one of the things that we all know is that the FCC maps as they currently are not sufficient for telling us who has broadband and who doesn't. So that is the gating item for all of the new funding that we're waiting on from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. That would include the BEAD program, Broadband Equity Access and Deployment, $42.45 billion or so of money that will be dispersed through the states. And the states cannot, and nobody's going to get that money, and the states can't start subgranting that until we know how much each state is going to get, and that's going to be determined based on how many unserved locations they have in their state or territory compared to other states around the country and other territories. So we have to have these broadband maps in place. So the FCC has come up with what they're calling a broadband data collection fabric. It's basically the underlying fabric that contains all of what their contractor CostQuest has determined are broadband serviceable locations. That's any structure that has broadband anywhere, let's say in the country or in the U.S. territories. So they have come up with this. That is the underlying fabric that then service providers need to then work with, and then they will look at that fabric and say, okay, here's the broadband serviceable locations that we serve. And every service provider has to upload, and this is regardless of whether you're taking any federal funding. You've got to do this, period. It's a mandate. So you have to upload your the maximum speed that you can offer at that location, the type of service it is, whether it's cable, fiber, DSL, wireless, whatever, and then whether the latency round trip is less than 100 milliseconds. And in most cases, that's going to be the case. But again, that's a lot of information to have to collect. So you have to know exactly where you can serve. These are all your homes or businesses past, where you could do a standard installation, let's say 10 days or so, where somebody calls up and say, hey, I want service, and you could go out there and serve them. So it's not just your current customers, it's wherever you could serve folks, and that's the information that you're going to load. So again, the filing window for that starts on June 30th. It runs through September 1st. The FCC has said there would be a really high bar if they were to give any waivers on that, because they have a preliminary fabric out now where you could be playing with it and figuring out how you do that. They've got lots of help available. They've just scheduled this webinar, which I'll show you here in a minute. So they're saying they're probably not going to extend this date, and they're probably not going to grant any waivers. So this is not something that you want to miss. There's a lot of help out there for you to be able to do that. So one of the things that they announced today is this webinar that you see here. So this is coming up on June 29th. So I will go ahead at the end of this video, I will link to this. I'm also going to link to a couple other things I'm going to show you here that I think will be very helpful if you have not started to do this, or maybe you have started to do it and you're looking for some help. So you'll see there's this webinar, and then down here you'll see a notification on button. So this is a scheduled live webinar. So if you come to this page, you can click on this notification. Actually, it would say notify me for you. If you have not yet clicked on it, it will say notify me. You can see I've already clicked on it, so it says notification on. But for you, it would say notify me. You just click that, and then what that will do is it will notify you when this is starting. Now, it's not going to send you an email. The way YouTube does it now is that it's a notification either on your phone device or on your desktop, and it'll be something where it'll notify you. You'll get a notification, hey, this is now live. The FCC is now live with this webinar. And then, of course, you can watch that later. It'll be recorded as soon as the live version's over. You can join at any time as it starts, and then after it's over, you'd be able to watch it recorded, kind of like this one. This one is live right now, and if you are a subscriber and you have notifications turned on, you would receive something that said, hey, Zquorum is live right now, and here's the topic, and then you can decide whether you want to watch it now, whether you want to watch it later, whether you don't want to watch it. But it's a very similar thing here. So just click the notification notify me button, and you will get that. So I'm not sure exactly what they're going to go over, but it may be something similar to what they have in their help site and their tutorial videos, or it may be, maybe there'll be more information, because this is the day before the actual broadband fabric comes out. So what's out right now is called the preliminary fabric, and the FCC made this available, and they're encouraging ISPs to use this before this production fabric is available on the 30th to figure out how they're going to take all of their homes passed, their addresses that they have, and then match them with what are called location IDs in the broadband fabric. The broadband fabric has a location ID, it has the physical address, and it has a lat and long. So, but when you upload to the fabric, when you upload your data to the fabric, the only thing they're going to accept is their location ID. So you have to match your addresses with their location IDs, which means you have to kind of match the addresses in your database or your CSV file, because it's a CSV file, the fabric, with their CSV file, so that you're matching the addresses. And then once you match the addresses, then in the CSV file you get the location ID. So that to me sounded kind of complicated, and I did contact the FCC and try to find out, to get some help. They sent me some help links, which were kind of helpful, but I already knew about those. I already knew about this help center, but then I found a video that actually specifically tells you how to do that text matching in Excel. So I'll show you that here. I'm not going to show you the video, but I'll show you what it looks like, and then I will link to that at the end as well. So here's the FCC Data Collection Help Center. So you can see here there's video resources. That's where I found one of those videos that explains that portion of things. There's other information on here. What do we got? What else we got? Let me see, availability data. Anyway, I'll link to this. You can click through here and see what's here. Then there's this video that I was telling you about. So this, make that bigger. So here's a portion. I will link to the part where they start talking about how to match your physical addresses in your service area with the location IDs, and it's done through this text matching in Excel. And they also have a little fuzzy lookup Excel plugin that you download that can help you do fuzzy lookups. For example, if you've got 157 Main Street, S-T-R-E-E-T, and in their location fabric data it says 157 Main ST, then the fuzzy lookup will put those two things together and say, hey, we're 99% sure that these two match, and you can make a decision about those things as well. So I thought this would be really helpful, because there's two ways you can upload the data into the fabric. There's by downloading their fabric, the fabric, which is a CSV file. Then you would have a CSV file with all of your locations, and then you do this text matching process. You can also upload a shapefile. So you can upload polygons, which would be like geocoded locations on a map, where you have a polygon that encompasses your service area, and specifically service areas that have, let's say, the maximum speed of this versus the maximum speed of that. So that can all appear on the map, and you can kind of draw polygons around that, create a shapefile, and upload those shapefiles. That to me sounded more complicated, but for some larger providers, maybe you're doing that kind of thing all of the time, I don't know. But they also, after this spot on the video, they also go through some ways to do that with the shapefiles, and they've got some open source geocoding and shapefile creation kinds of tools that you can download. So there's a lot of good information in that video that I think will help you out. Let me go out of full size here. There we go. And then I'm also going to link to where you can get the preliminary version of the fabric. So the FCC is encouraging, like I say, ISPs to all start trying to use this preliminary fabric, because this is basically, the process is going to be pretty much the same as using the production fabric. Two caveats there. Okay, a couple of caveats. One is the location IDs are going to be completely different. So the location IDs in the preliminary fabric start with a 1. In the production fabric, they start with a 9, so they're completely different. So it's not like you can do this in the preliminary fabric and then say, okay, I'm ready, and send it to the production one. The preliminary one is just so you can get everything figured out. And then you're going to have to kind of duplicate that again. Once you get your processes figured out, you're going to have to do that again. The other thing is the data is going to change between the preliminary and the production. All of the service locations say they're serviceable in the preliminary fabric, but that's not going to be the case in the production fabric. In the case of MDUs, The number of units in that MDU is going to be blank, whereas in the production fabric it's going to tell you how many units there are, for example, in an apartment building or a business complex, that kind of thing. So there are going to be changes, so just be aware of that. But the preliminary fabric is there so you can get started and figure this out, because you've really only got about 2 months. You got July and August basically to get this done. So this came out in April. I did a video at that point. But if you have not gotten started, you still have some time to be working with the preliminary fabric before the production one comes out. So you could get started, let's say next week, on trying to figure this out, and that'll give you a little bit of headroom on figuring out how you're going to get all of this done. So again, here in just a moment, I will be putting down in the comments section links to the preliminary fabric, a link to where the webinar is, where you can click the little notify button just so you have that, or you can put that on your calendar. A link to that video that I mentioned, that I found, where it will show you how you can match your data with the FCC data. So hopefully all of that is very helpful for you. Again, this is every single service provider in the country and in U.S. territories has to do this. This is going to be a biannual process that starts June 30th, so you got to do this. So make sure that you are ready to do that. Don't delay, and don't wait till the last minute to get your data in. You want to get this done and uploaded and then see how things go. And if this was helpful, please give me a like on the video. I'd appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, again, what you can do is you hit the subscribe button, and then there's a little bell down there to click notify, and then you will be notified anytime I'm live. And I try to provide helpful information, and again, you can choose to watch it or not, but go ahead and do that. Thanks for joining me, and I will be back next time with broadband deployment news. Bye-bye.